My name is Justin Arnett, and it's spelled Justinarnett. My ghost story began in West Lafayette, Indiana, at Pierce Cemetery on September 28th, 2011. So, Pierce Cemetery is one of those places right when you first walk in, you get a completely different feeling. So, we went out one night, and I kind of had my first paranormal experiences. There's things, again, the cold chills, feel like somebody's walking around, you think you see something in the distance. All kind of creepy things, but nothing that at the time I could really put my finger on. There was one time, though, where James was actually asking questions, asking, where are you from? Are you from heaven? Are you from hell? At the time, we didn't know, but we actually got a response. After going back a couple days later, we all sat down for evidence review to find out that what we feel says, I'm from hell, as a response to what James was asking, and where are you from? This was the first piece of evidence in my mind at the time where I actually did not have an explanation for. So a week later we go back, and actually one of my fellow investigators, Matt Page, go with me. He was running the video camera. It all starts off by me saying, I want to speak to this person from hell. And we were actually at what we call Hell's Hole. I'm asking questions, and I had my recorder, my voice recorder, sit in a branch, and it kind of created like an X, and I had it sit right in the middle of it. And I'm asking questions, and eventually I'm like, you know what, if you can knock that red light down, I will leave this spot. And on command, literally not even a second later, our video camera distorts, almost like something's pulling energy from it, and then you see the recorder actually thrown off of the branches. We even went back later in evidence review and seen that not only did this recorder fall off, but it was actually pushed off from the top. So it's not like it slid off. We also went back and reviewed the distortion in the video camera as well. And it's nothing that our video camera's ever done before. It was just something that I did not have an explanation for. I mean, when I was there and experienced this, I freaked out. I mean, it scared me to death. I've never seen anything like that before. I've never experienced anything like that before. I did not have an explanation for it. I mean, it's only something that can truly be described if you're there. It's just an unrealistic feeling. It scared me. I mean, it literally took me 5-10 minutes to actually calm down and clear my mind. So after I finally regained my composure, I went back and I said, I respect what you just did. I will leave this place. So we left Hell's Hole after the entire situation there. We walk about 30 feet down to a place that we like to call Father Smith's grave. There's a grave there that says Father Smith. We feel he's probably one of the more intelligent spirits there. So we go over to his grave. It's me and a couple other investigators, and it's cold outside, so I have my jacket on. And I start asking questions, is there anyone here with us tonight? Can you please make your presence known? And as I'm asking these questions, my keys start going off in my pocket. And what I mean by this is I have remote start on my car. And my car is probably parked about 200 to 300 feet away from where we're standing. And it was giving me an error message. And for me, my remote start to work, if you hold the button down, it has to be for about 2-3 seconds, it starts my car. If you don't hold it down long enough and it doesn't get a connection to my car, it flashes red and it makes a loud error noise. So it's making these error noises in my pocket. And I'm thinking, that's weird, and I have the voice recorder in my hand, I say, disregard this noise, it's my keys. And one of my other investigators just throws the idea out, he's like, well, maybe that's, one of the spirits trying to communicate with you. So I decided to entertain the idea. So I pull the keys out, I'm holding them flat in my hand like this, everybody's seen me that I had them flat in my hand. And I said, if that was you touching my keys, can you please touch them again? And sure enough, my error message starts going off of my keys again. Thinking, that's really weird. I didn't really have an explanation for that because I've never done it before. I've had it for years. And all of a sudden, it starts to get colder and stuff. We start noticing it. And then I was like, okay, well, if it's you, I need you to do it one more time for me. And when I asked that question, whatever was out there with us actually held the button down long enough to where it starts my car. And that kind of weirded us all out. I thought that was really creepy, kind of excited us, but we just decided, let's go ahead and leave this area. And we decided to take a break. So before we left, I go back to Hell's Hole, and I wanted to see with this whole recorder flying off at me if this was real. You know, again, it scared me. You know, I knew it was real. I was there. I witnessed it. But at the same time, it was I had to have proof. So there was a log sitting next to the tree that we were at, and I set the recorder down on top of that, and said to the spirits there, I said, you know, I have to believe that what happened earlier was fake. It wasn't real. That it was just coincidence. And that if anything was out there, if they could do it again, then I would believe. So I set the recorder down, and we all left, went back to our cars, far from the graveyard, and for it was about 15 minutes we were gone. So we all come back. I noticed the recorder was slightly moved, but I didn't know if that was just my mind playing tricks on me or not, so I just didn't say anything. I didn't worry about it. Until a couple of days later when we did evidence review, you can actually hear something sliding the recorder across this log, almost as if it was trying to actually knock something off that log. Again, everybody was accounted for. There was nobody out there. If anybody would have went into that graveyard, they would have went through us, and nobody was there. Have no explanation for that. So we went back one time. It was just a couple of investigators, and I'm at Hell's Hole again because I'm intrigued by this place, obviously. And I'm asking questions, you know, not really getting too much. And then I feel like I hear something behind me. It was only me and one other investigator there. And I turned to look behind me, and as I turned to look behind me, in this ear, which was facing the tree, I actually hear, with my own ear, something say my name, Justin. I mean, that clear. It was a whisper. But it was a female whisper. And again, something that's completely undescribable. I mean, unless you've actually witnessed and felt something like this before, you can't really describe it. But it's almost like I could see this woman that said my name. I mean, I feel that she's between 20 to 26 years old. I mean, she's fairly young. She had white on, and she has very dark hair. I feel like she's a very pretty girl, which we actually found out that there's actually near that area a grave there that has the name Victoria on it, which makes me wonder, is this Victoria that's trying to speak to me? So I heard my name, and I respond to it in the voice recording. You can hear me say, I feel like somebody just said my name. I mean, I mean, I couldn't describe it. I'm like, I just heard somebody say my name, and I know it wasn't anybody that was there. I would have heard them say that. So normally we say a prayer before and after our investigations. We said the prayer going into that time. However, I was so excited about hearing that, we ended up leaving pretty much right after that, that I drove away and forgot to say a prayer. I just forgot. And in the end, it actually turned out not good for me for doing that. Next day I wake up, you know, finished going over some of the evidence, but I had a different feeling about me the entire day. Something was off. I kept feeling kind of gloomy and down, and I kept wanting to go back to the cemetery. Even though it was in the middle of the day, I was by myself. I actually started to get ready and got to the point where I was outside getting ready to get in my car to go to the cemetery by myself without telling anybody where I was going. And then I realized what I was doing, and I was dumbfounded. I didn't know why I was even doing this. It just, not that I didn't remember it, I didn't have any purpose for it. I didn't know why. And I just kind of snapped back into it right before I got in my car. So I'm like, what am I doing? So I go back inside, and I'm like, I just need to sit down and relax, watching TV. So I'm sitting there, and weird things started happening. It sounded like I live in a 2-story apartment. My bedroom's downstairs, my living room's upstairs. And I started hearing things like sounds like my doors were opening and shutting, or somebody slowly walking downstairs. And all of I have 3 roommates, and they were all out of town that day. There was absolutely nobody there other than me and my dog. My dog was upstairs with me. You know, and I'm like, this is just kind of weird. You know, it starts with the feelings, you know, and then me starting to go to Pierce by myself. Now I'm hearing noises and stuff. Something's off. So I had some of the voice recorders there with me from the investigation the night before. And I just figured, you know, I'm just going to leave the recorder rolling, and I'm going to drive away and just be gone for a little bit. I'm going to come back and just see what I find. So I do that. I set my recorder down right on the table, turn everything off. I even take my dog with me in my car, and I drive away. And then when I come back, I listen to the recorder, and I found things that I couldn't explain. I played it right away, and you can hear my car, you can hear me walk outside, you hear me get in my car, you hear me drive off, and about 45 seconds after I leave, it's dead quiet, no sounds, no anything, and then the only explanation, in my opinion, is that you can hear somebody open my bedroom door, walk up my stairs, open doors, cabinets, moving around in the kitchen. And some of the sounds actually sound like they're coming from the same room, when it's impossible because there's nobody at my house. So I'm listening to this, and I'm just, there's something here. There's something in my house with me, and I don't know what to do. So I called James, the lead founder of our group, right away, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do. And so he told me, he's like, say a prayer, let him know that whatever's there with you needs to leave. So I get off the phone with him, I set my voice recorder up right away, and I do what we call house cleansing. And it's just an experience, again, that it's just, you can't explain.